The corset that I'm using as my base reference is one from the V&A. It's very famous. I'm sure if you're into historical costuming at all, you've probably seen it before. So this pretty blue corset is from the V&A and it was made in 1864, so we're right there for the time period. It's got a good silhouette for what I want as well. I'm going to be using RedThreaded's Gored Corset pattern. She already has a blog post where she tried to recreate this corset herself by making a few alterations to that pattern. So I think it turned out pretty well. I think that I can probably get it a little bit closer to this silhouette with a few mock-ups, because hers was a lot more straight up and down and this one's quite curvy, and I think that that's what fit her body, but I think that I can squish myself a little bit more. I've looked at the pattern already. Here are my pattern pieces and I am not a huge fan of this pattern already. For one, it only comes in one size per purchase, so you have to buy one size. So you're out 20 bucks for each size that you're buying, which means that if you don't fit into the size that you guess that you would be in, you're like SOL. So not a huge fan of that. That costs a ton of money. I think personally that she should include a range of like 3 sizes in one pattern. I think that would just be a lot nicer to her customers, but you know, not my business, not really my say. The other thing that I noticed with this pattern, and I've made a couple alterations already. The alterations that I've already made are minor. I didn't want to do many of those off of camera, but I've cut off the seam allowances for everything. And then I've also made sure everything was trued up correctly. It doesn't seem like this pattern was actually trued, because as it stands right now, this one still has seam allowance on the top and it fits to this side without seam allowance. So something went wrong in the grading process, I think. I'm betting that this was not originally the size that it was made for. So who knows if it's different in other sizes, but it hasn't been trued to this size specifically. Oh, the last thing that I had a problem with was scaling this pattern. I found that the printable size at 100% ended up cutting pieces off. So like whoever scaled this did not account for margin at all, and the fact that printers like to print with margins on their papers. So I kind of just had to guess. You can see here where there's a gap where I just filled in where the grain line would extend to and just match that up instead of actually having concrete lines to match up to. So it was fine. I was able to fix it. Like, that's cool, but for something that's kind of slated as a beginner pattern, like, I don't think this is great for beginners. But we can get on to actually altering the pattern for personal adjustments. So these are things that I just wanted to alter because I don't fall exactly into the standard sizing of this corset. So we can get onto that now that I've made the base, like, necessary adjustments for this to just like be a functioning pattern at all. So what I'm doing here is I've just measured the waistline, and so basically it goes from the center front here all the way to the top of where this core line is. So I've measured that, and the half waist is about 13.25, which means that the total waist is 26.5. That's going to be too big, so I'm going to just start chopping some stuff off. This should stay a full rectangle, so I'm not going to do anything to this back lacing panel. I think that we'll probably want this to come in at the waist a little bit. So if we take 1/4 inch off of that, that'll end up being 26 inches. I think I want to get this down to maybe 25 inches for the mock-up, and then I can change more for actual corset if the mock-up ends up being too big. This core will stay the same. I'm just going to keep some pieces together. So because I already graded it, so I cut off 1/4 inch at this part of the waist, I can just match this up to the boning channel, which you can't see, but there's a boning channel there, and I can just cut it off right at the edge of that one. And this back part is kind of like this. So this is a small red threaded gored corset pattern. Generally, the whole thing is too large. I ordered a size down, so I feel like it shouldn't be too large, but here we are. I guess I added some in the bust, so that's my own fault. The hips actually are pretty perfect, so that one's fine. Well, okay, no, if you look at the back, it's laced entirely shut. So everything could use a little bit of extra space so that I can have that nice 2-inch gap, which is like not strictly necessary, but if I want this to fit when I am no longer in quarantine and I'm actually like getting movement and exercise ever, then I probably want it to be able to fit when I'm a little bit smaller. So preemptively anticipating that this is probably just a little bit too big. So with that in mind, this is very painful. Like, this is not sitting in the right place or something. I'm not really sure. It's digging right into my side. I don't know if that's because the bones are just stopping right there. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if this needs to come up or if it needs to go down. Like, what is going on here? Maybe my back just hurts. Who knows? If I do any reduction, it'll probably be one of the front panels. This corset only has like 2 panels though, so I'm not sure. I really, honestly don't quite know what to do about all of this. The bust seems to fit pretty well, actually. I could maybe take in this side gusset a little bit, so let me do that really quick. Or gusset, whatever. So the pattern for this corset had one piece for all of the bust gores. What I need for my personal body, this is gonna get a little personal, I guess. My boobs are a little bit more forward projected than outward projected. Having equal volume on the front and the side does not really do it for me. So taking that out will certainly help. I pinned myself to my chemise. Oops. Okay, and then this is all 4-inch high. So that's about correct. I don't think I pinned that side to my chemise, so that's good. Yeah, actually, the more I wear it, the more comfortable it gets. The only thing I'm really concerned about is that this seems to be buckling quite a bit. Actually, it's not buckling a ton, it's just buckling some. This is just a little tiny bit too long for me, maybe. I also didn't put bones in the front, which I should have, so that would also help make everything stay a little bit straighter. So I'm gonna just not touch that for now, and in the next fitting address that. The other thing that I wanted to do is when I was looking at RedThreaded's blog post of making this corset, it was extremely straight up and down, which looked fine, but like is not really what I want from this. If you see on here, let me change the lighting a little bit. It's still kind of dark, but if you look at turning this way, I guess. Yeah, so if you look at this side of the silhouette and then that side of the book, I would like this to kind of scoop out more rather than what it's doing now. So maybe instead of taking this in, I should just like pad my bust out a little bit, because I really do want to nail that shape. And I think I might have accidentally packed all of my bust pads for moving. It's very handy that this book is the cover, or the cover of this book is the corset that I want to make. Okay, so I think maybe if I let this hip part out so that it springs out a little bit. Maybe. This is so silly. I'm gonna turn on the light. So this light is much worse, but maybe it'll help me see it a little bit better. Actually, not too bad. Let's hold you this way. I'm trying to figure out what angle they took this picture at. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Instead of taking this little thing out, I'm instead going to pad my bust out a little bit. I'm gonna go grab some socks so I can pad my boobs. I'll be right back. JK, Past Ninja was smart and left out the bust pads that I need just for like historical costuming, and I only packed all of my silicone chicken cutlets that I used for cosplay, so that's good news. Okay, yeah, that is much better. Wow, look at that fake cleavage. Cool. Okay, let's look at this again. Oh, wrong way. Oh yeah, that looks great. Yay! Okay, awesome. That's actually very good. Sweet. So I think I can just let out that hip part a little bit and then maybe just entirely take some off of here. I don't know. Now I don't want to fuck with it. I'm gonna turn the light back off. Nicer without it. Definitely let the hip out a little bit. And I think that'll help with like it being kind of painful as well. For these bones under my armpit, I think they're supposed to be a little bit more slanted. Maybe that is more a product of getting tilted, but I don't think that needs to be tilted. Back looks really good, I think. They like get it to look so smooth with the hip transition, but I mean, it is on a mannequin, so like, who knows? Because I don't want to stick boning all the way down, because it doesn't look like there's boning all the way through the hip at anywhere. So many decisions to make. I'm gonna need to add a little bit to the sides here, maybe like an inch, half an inch, 3/4. Let me get a tape measure. Let's add a full inch and then I can take it down if necessary. And maybe I should just lower this a little bit. I don't know. I tried to buy a shorter bust and farthing heels is entirely out, so that's not really an option. Yeah, all of these bones look quite a bit more slanted in the original one, so I'm wondering if maybe this whole thing needs to like shift back a little bit. I don't know. If you can see where this gusset doesn't sit flush against this bone here, I think that I can tilt this gusset so the tip is like closer to this boning channel. By placing these boning channels more tilted this way, it'll follow the line of this gusset like it does right now, but it'll still follow the line of the gusset once it's tilted more this way, and then I'll get more of a diagonal thing, which is what the extant garment looks like. So that's cool, we'll do that. Once I tilt this gusset the correct way, bones will all shift to tilt the correct way. Then this seam will still be correct from this side. If that's probably really hard to see, sorry. This seam will still be tilted correctly, and then I can take most of my stuff off of this seam, and then I'll have to figure something else out with the hips. I don't know, maybe if I loosen the hips, it'll do less of this like creasing right here. Oh yeah, that actually helped immensely. So I think the main issue is that I have the hips a little bit too tight, and like once this has a binding on it, it will not do all of that gaping anymore. I think I could still move this seam forward a little bit, but well, I'll figure that out in the next mock-up. Right now, I just wanted to see what to do for the first mock-up, and now I can make some alterations, and then we can make a second mock-up. Cool, great. Yay! We are getting there. This is gonna be a long project. But did you see it? I'm doing corset mock-ups this time. Aren't you proud of me? I was too lazy last time and I didn't have enough time. But this has no deadline, or rather the deadline is Katsucon of 2022, which is 11 months from now, so we're good. We got time. We're good. Alright, I'm gonna go make some pattern alterations now. I will see you guys down there. Okay, bye. I got this really cute little postcard book in the mail today. It's got lots of little images of flower fairies. I just wanted to share it because I thought it was very cute and made me happy. Kind of hard to see that. Alright, we've got the second mock-up done, and I think this is good enough to be my final mock-up, and I can move on to the actual corset, so that's good news. Yeah, so if you saw my last video, I talked a little bit about why I am not in the big hat. I talked a little bit why I haven't been in the best headspace the past few days. Filming the end of these two videos at the same time because I did make these garments concurrently, So how it worked out, they just both get their ending filmed at the same time. I'm filming this a few days after the shooting in Atlanta. Yeah, I explained it last video, but I'll do a brief rundown. There was essentially a white guy who shot up a few Asian massage parlors in Atlanta this week and killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women, and the police are not slating it as a hate crime. They're just saying that he had a bad day. So that's been rough, but I wanted to accomplish something to maybe like try to lift my spirits a little bit. So if I seem kind of off, low energy, or frantic, or any of the above, that's kind of why. As with the last video, I will put some links to places you could donate, learn more, and like spread awareness of racism in the US. If you're not in the US, then I guess it doesn't really apply to you, but if you want to learn more about it anyways or help out, then please feel free to check those out. Let's get on with our scheduled fitting. This is my second mock-up and I think it's pretty good. I like the shape that I've got a lot. I think that I am achieving the shape that I would like to achieve, so that's cool. I think that worked out really well. His qualms with the fit of this corset right now are mostly just that this is wrinkling here and that I'm getting a little bit too much creasing at the waist here. The back fits great. I have it all closed down, so I might make it a little bit smaller so I can get that full 2 inches of gap. It seems to be fitting really well without even having to tie it, so that's awesome. But my biggest issue is this crease right here. It's also a little bit painful that it's digging in there. If I pull down on it as if there were a bone running from top to bottom on the side here, it's not painful at all, and the creasing mostly goes away. So even though that doesn't really exist in the original corset, probably will do that anyways, just because it'll make it a little bit more comfortable. It might get rid of the like really nice dramatic hip spring. So I'm gonna think about it. I have asked some other people who might have the knowledge and expertise to help me out, so if they come up with a better answer, then you'll find out in my next video when I find out. If not, then this is what we're gonna be doing. I think it looks really good. Basically the only issues are these wrinklies here, and I wonder if maybe when it's double layered it'll work a little bit better. This piece is also cut on the bias, so I wonder if that's maybe part of it, but who knows. The length is really good. I have a 1/2 inch of seam allowance here, but my bones are a little bit too long. I just used bones that I already had, so they're a little bit long. There's lots of room for my hips, which is nice, like that. It fits when I have my bust padding in, and that's like totally expected for such a dramatic bust curve. I've got the hips to fill out the curve, but I don't really have the bust to do it, so need a little bit help in that department. I think it'll all work out really well. I think this is going to give me a really good shape for Alice, and I think it looks very much like the original corset, so I'm happy. Woohoo! What about you, baby bat? Are you happy? No, it's time to be fed. Let me just finish filming this, alright? Great, well, that's it. I think that's the whole video. I guess this will also be the outro. Usually I kind of do a separate fitting and outro, but here we are. This is my last fitting for this corset, and I can move on to making the actual corset, so that's super exciting. We're gonna drill through the bones and do some flossing. Yes, baby? Yes? You went up? No. Okay, well, thank you for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some things. If I have learned something new about the fit of this corset between now and my next video, I will update you guys in the next video. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Oh wait, if you liked the video, please give it a like. Please comment if you found anything notably useful or not useful, or you want to offer some constructive criticism. Let me know what you think about my fit problems. If you have any solutions to this, might be too late. I'm probably going to start on the actual corset before this video goes up, but you know, maybe for the next corset. And if you want to see how the actual corset turns out, if you want to see everything that goes on top of the corset, please subscribe to my channel. I hope that I see you around again. Alright, bye guys! We just signed for our house, so we are officially homeowners. We own a house now. Micah's face looks silly, so he's wearing a mask. But we're going to Starbucks now, and then we're going to drive home for 4 hours. But we have a house now! Yay!